What if I told you there are airplanes you can fly so cheaply, it almost feels like flying for free? No tricks, no fantasy numbers, just smart aircraft choices, realistic ownership, and designs that simply refuse to drain your wallet. Today, we're talking about planes with super low maintenance costs, the kind of airplanes senior pilots quietly love because they let you fly more and worry less. If you're in the US, Canada, or Europe, especially retired or close to it, this video is for you. Because at this stage of life, flying isn't about showing off. It's about freedom, calm, and not watching your bank account panic every time the engine starts. And as we go, I want you thinking and commenting, do these planes match your idea of smart aviation? Or do you still believe cheap flying is impossible today? Let's start with a hard truth. Flying isn't expensive by default. Bad airplane choices make it expensive. Complexity, aging systems, rare parts, and overpowered engines are what quietly destroy ownership budgets. The planes we're talking about today avoid those traps. First, let's talk about classic two-seat trainers, Cessna 150 and 152. These airplanes are legends for one simple reason. They were designed to be abused daily by students and still survive. Simple engines, fixed gear, fixed pitch propellers, no complicated systems to brake. Annual inspections are usually straightforward. Parts are everywhere. Mechanics know them blindfolded. Fuel burn is laughably low compared to almost anything else in aviation. Many owners say their biggest annual expense isn't maintenance, it's hangar rent. And here's the question for you. If an airplane lets you fly twice as often for the same money, is it really less airplane? Or is it actually more freedom? Think about that and drop your answer in the comments. Next up, Piper Cub and Super Cub variants, including older certified Cubs and well-built equivalents. These airplanes look simple because they are simple. Fabric, steel tubes, basic systems, low horsepower engines. There's almost nothing to go wrong. When something does wear out, it's usually inexpensive and easy to fix. What many senior pilots discover later in life is this. The slower the airplane, the cheaper and calmer ownership becomes. Cubs don't stress engines. They don't stress landing gear. They don't stress pilots. And that translates directly into lower maintenance costs over decades, not just one good year. So here's a discussion worth having. Would you rather fly slow and cheap forever or fast and expensive until the joy quietly disappears? Be honest, comment below. Now let's talk about Cessna 172 Skyhawk, but specifically older, well-maintained models without excessive modifications. This airplane sits right at the edge between simplicity and utility. Fixed gear, predictable systems, bulletproof engines, and unmatched parts availability worldwide. Yes, purchase prices are higher than they used to be, but maintenance costs stay remarkably stable. That's the secret. Shops know the airplane. Problems are rarely mysterious, and you're not paying experimental prices or boutique avionics labor unless you choose to. For retired pilots, that predictability matters more than raw speed. Ask yourself this, would you rather own a cheaper airplane that surprises you every year, or a slightly more expensive one that behaves exactly as expected? That question defines long-term cost more than people realize. Now let's shift into Rotax-powered light aircraft. Airplanes like the Diamond DA-20, Tecnam singles, and other modern light designs. This is where many pilots are shocked. That these engines are designed for efficiency, long service intervals, and automotive-style reliability. Fuel burn is low, oil consumption is low, parts are increasingly available globally. Maintenance philosophy is different here, condition-based, not fear-based, and that alone saves money. Many senior pilots who switched to Rotax-powered aircraft say they wish they'd done it sooner. Less vibration, less stress, less maintenance drama. Here's the controversial question. Are we emotionally attached to old American engines, or are we rationally choosing what actually costs less to operate today? Let's argue about that in the comments, respectfully. Next, Grumman AA-1 and AA-5 series. These airplanes don't get enough credit. Bonded aluminum construction means fewer rivets, fewer corrosion points, and surprisingly low long-term structural issues when cared for properly. They're efficient, they're light, they cruise well on modest power. Maintenance costs stay low because systems stay simple. No complex gear systems, no turbochargers, no unnecessary extras. Owners often describe them as honest airplanes. They do exactly what they promise, nothing more, nothing less. So here's a thought. Why do we chase complexity when simplicity clearly works? Is it marketing, ego, habit? I want your take in the comments. Now let's talk about experimental aircraft done right, Van's RV-9A, RV-12, and similar designs. This is where many people expect maintenance nightmares, and instead find the opposite. When built carefully, these airplanes are incredibly easy to maintain. Owners can legally do much of their own work. Parts are affordable. Communities are massive and helpful. This is ownership without waiting for approvals, without paying premium shop rates for basic tasks. For retired pilots who enjoy understanding their airplane, not just flying it, experimental aircraft can feel incredibly empowering. But let's be honest, this requires mindset. Are you comfortable being involved, or do you prefer handing keys to a mechanic and walking away? Neither answer is wrong, but your answer determines whether this category saves you money or causes stress. Comment below, where do you stand? Another overlooked category, tailwheel trainers and simple bush planes like Champs, Citabrias, and older Aeroncas. These aircraft were never designed to be expensive. They were designed to fly off grass, tolerate abuse, and be fixed quickly. They don't eat brakes. They don't eat tires. They don't eat engines. They ask very little and give back a lot of flying joy. Many senior pilots say these airplanes bring back the feel of flying that modern machines sometimes lose. So here's the deeper question. Do you want flying to feel like managing a system or feeling the air again? That choice affects your wallet more than you think. Let's zoom out for a moment. The biggest lie in aviation is that ownership cost is unpredictable. It's not. Complexity predicts cost, speed predicts cost, rare parts predict cost. Simplicity almost always predicts affordability. And here's something few people say out loud. Flying cheaply isn't about sacrifice. It's about alignment. Aligning the airplane with who you are now, not who you were 30 years ago. At this stage of life, many pilots don't need 4 seats, turbocharging, or 170-knot cruise. They need reliability, calm, and confidence that flying won't turn into a financial stress test. So let me ask you directly, and answer honestly in the comments. If you could fly twice as often, stress-free, but slower, would you do it? Or does speed still matter more than freedom? Because the airplanes we talked about today prove one thing very clearly. Flying doesn't have to be expensive. It only becomes expensive when we choose the wrong tool for the life we're living now. And that's the real secret to flying for free.